the 5th of April 2025. You're welcome back to Real True Education, not fake news. Thank you for all your comments. Liberation Day Part 2. Well, going about the country, all we hear is that terrible Trump. He's an idiot. He's a pure idiot. Now, he's a pure idiot. He's an idiot. And when an idiot is born, he has to be reared. What are you going to do with him? And this is the whole story. And we take a look at some of the things, because I don't have it all the details. I'd say no matter what paper you buy, you might get it in the Financial Times. I don't have time to read it because the weather's very good here. But we'll have a look at one particular point that Trump makes. And to say he's an idiot, he can't count or anything else. Supposing the duty is 20% coming into Ireland. We'll take it, it's a printing machine with a very intense type of printing, which is very useful for something or other. And they sell a few of them. And there's one made in Cincinnati, Ohio, in the United States, and one made in Austria, in the European Union. And there's the exact same machine, or there could be a slightly different price. The United States might be slightly cheaper. But the point is, the EU clamps a 20% tariff on it coming in. Okay, so we'll say the cost of the machine coming in is €100,000, and they put 20% on it. That brings the price. That's 20,000. That brings the price up to 120,000. Okay, so the machine from Austria will be 100,000 or whatever they're charging. It could be more. The purpose of the tariffs is to make the Austrian one more attractive. So they add the 20% to the American model, and that brings the total cost landed at 120,000. If they were to charge 8% VAT on that price, they're putting VAT on the wholesale price, the import price, and on the tariff. They're putting VAT on the tariff. And if that VAT is at a certain rate, then you're charging it, according to the Americans, on the double. We'll say in this example, the VAT is 8%, which is ridiculously low, but 8%. The 8% will bring the whole price of the unit up to 129,600. 129,600. Okay, now we look at a different scenario. Supposing they wanted to have it fair, FAIR, and they only charge 11% import duty. That'd bring the price landed at €111,000. And then they put the 8% on that. The 8% on that would bring the total price to 119,880, or as near to 120,000 as makes no difference. Almost the same, without going into places of decimals for VAT and all that. So that would be given the same price. Both would cost the consumer 120,000. Are you with me? Whereas the one in Austria might only cost 100,000 plus the 11%, no, not the 11%, the 8%, 108,000 or 108,860. So they'd have the Austrian one in and bought it in the office for 108,000. The American one would still cost 120. But the way they're doing it is they're charging 20% on the American machine, and the full VAT, whatever it is, usually 23 or might be 23%, let's say. So they're charging VAT, value-added tax, on to the purchase price wholesale plus the tariff. And a deal of the VAT is on the tariff. That happens with spirits in Ireland, spirits, alcohol spirits or ethanol, where they charge VAT on the excise duty. So a bottle of whiskey might have an excise duty of €15, and there's excise duty on that, the same as the main product. But that is one thing within the country. This is in international trade. Now, do you get that? Now, they say Trump's an idiot, but he's able to count that simple fact. This is the fair way. You only charge whatever import duty added to the VAT, the value added tax, which will bring the total up to 20%, or whatever your objective is. If you want to tap 20% on it, doing that there, the product will be 20% more expensive. Whereas with this one here, it'll be 29% more expensive. Right? Now to recap, the Austrian machine would be 100 plus 8% VAT, which would be 108 ready for sale, retail. The American machine would be 120 if you did it the fair way. If you only added the VAT and the tariff, which brought it to 20%. The difference there would be 108 as opposed to 120. But with the way they're doing it, it's 120. The import price with the tariff multiplied by 8% is 129.60. So that's over 21,000 more expensive, no matter how you do it. Now, one of the problems with, I have 2% of my viewers and my subscribers who are not too good at the figures, can't count, and they're always posting underneath you, they just don't get it. But the rest of them do, 95% of you, fair play now, fair play. But anyway, all the people running around Ireland whinging about Trump don't see that. And when you try to tell them that, they don't want to know. In other words, the VAT, the money the government puts on that product, should be a certain total percentage, let's say 20%. But it's not. By putting the VAT on after the tariff rather than before, it's more expensive. You're paying the tariff, you're paying the value added tax on the tariff as well as the price. Whereas the local product, the one produced in the EU, you're only producing it on the sales price. Now, they say this is trade neutral because a lot of people doesn't understand the VAT. I sell cattle in the mart, and you want to see the way the VAT is added on and taken off. But we'll not go into VAT too much. To say, it's trade neutral. That's baloney. Because when you buy a machine of a big company or something, or when they buy it of you, may have to wait 2 months. When you send the invoice out for the machine, that's on your VAT. You must pay your VAT within 30 days. The businesses in Ireland are collectors for the revenue. So you must pay your VAT within 30 days to get that. Even though you mightn't get your bill or your check, you mightn't be paid for the machine for 60 days. And many big companies have 60-day credit, which means that if you want to sell with them and you want to keep going and keep in business, you have to accept the 60-day credit, but the VAT is gone after 30 days. And that can create a cash flow problem. You're a month without your money. Moreover, no matter how it's counted, the final consumer pays extra. If the final consumer pays on the very same product, paid just the VAT for both machines, it would be 108,000 euros. If they want to clap the 20% of the import price, that would be 20,000 more. But the 120,000 more. But the way they do it is 129 as opposed to 108. So it's a rip-off. They are ripping off the Americans. Now you might say that it's not easy work a VAT system with that to improve that in it. Well, that's up to them. The way to deal with that is to work out the final money the government takes off this product, including tariffs and VAT, and have that equal to whatever the tariff is meant to be. So if the tariff is meant to be 20, I work it out that an 11% tariff plus an 8% VAT will work out at around 20%. Okay? And that will be a 20% tariff. But that's not the way to do it. And this is the standoff my own opinion is that they should only charge a total. There should only come a total amount of money to the government of whatever the tariff is wanted. Because it's 20% at 8%. That's 21.6 if you count 8%. 20 by 8% is 1.6. So you're talking about 21.6. Okay, you get that point. Now, folks, that's basically it on that. A big question is whiskey sales. What is the import duty on American whiskey? It can't be that much because American whiskey is not that expensive. We don't know. The other point, I understand there is an awful lot of English made cars, going through Northern Ireland on way to the United States. Land Rover is very popular in the United States and they're exporting a lot in there. So that'll be one to look at. The other product is JCB. Now, JCB makes an awful lot of good site equipment, site machinery, diggers and excavators and all that, famous brand, James Charles Bamford, and they have a factory in America, and they've announced yesterday that they're going to increase the output of the one in America so they can deal and trade in the American market and make the product over there. So that would be a bit of a plus for Mr. Trump. The other thing is that in Vietnam, they have apparently capitulated. They said they're not going to charge any more tariffs on goods going into America. It's all to be played for yet. We'll deal with more of it as we go along. But anyway, that is a very important point. And the people that say Trump can't count, I don't think they're right. I think people should understand there's a difference between the VAT rate, whatever it is, it could be 23%, on the bare import price of 100,000 and the VAT rate applied to the import price plus the tariff. That's the point. Is that fair? Well, it might be fair to a lot of people in Ireland because they see Trump as a rascal. They want to freeload on America, and this is a big thing. And everyone's shouting, "No, Val, you're wrong about Trump. You're wrong about Trump." But then again, he has to look after number one. The American economy is 36 trillion in debt. To the ordinary Irishman, it doesn't. What do we care about that? Oh, that's not to do with us. I'm sorry, folks, it is to do with you. So supposing on my farm, there's a young lad, and I get the meal delivery, and he has a couple of cattle in his shed, and he says to me, "Can I give them an odd wee bit of meal there, just over this very bit stretch, and I'll do something for you." And I let him come up with a bucket and bring down a bucket of meal every day, we'll say. But then he grows and grows. The next thing he has 25 head of cattle, and he's still taking the meal out of my bin. There's some time I have to say, no, you have to go get your own. And you see, sometimes if you give that type of concession, when you demand it stops, you're the worst in the world. And they ignore and forget everything you gave them up to now and tell you you're a rascal. And the man down the road that gave them nothing is a decenter man. That's some of the Irish people are like that. Okay, right, comment underneath. We'll be doing more on these tariffs. The flavour of the month. Great fun with them. I don't know what's going to happen yet. The one on the medicals is not coming in yet, on the pharmaceuticals. It's postponed. That could be that there could be health problems if they stop these tablets going into America. There could be a problem with drugs going in. People might not be able to get their medication. But I can tell you one thing, and I know this from within the industry. Most pills and tablets, whatever they're for, only contain about 6% of the active ingredient. So if it's something that's in it, God knows what, don't ask me, they're only about 6%. The rest is just a filler. I don't know, is it lime or whatever, some type of powder. Something harmless anyway, like dried powder or something. And they buy that in maybe 1,000 kilos of the filler, and then they add maybe 6 kilos of the active ingredient, and that's mixed in a big tub. And I understand that's usually done in Ireland, because it has to be got to a stage where every part of that is mixed and contains the active ingredient. So you can't have a big lump, a kilo inside with no active ingredient. You'd be only getting a placebo. You'd be getting a useless tablet. So they have to make sure and mix it enough. And that's done in Ireland. And then they test it various places and keep it moist and keep it churning till they're happy it's actively mixed, it's mixed properly, and that the exact right proportion is in it. When they do that, then they can certify it. Then I understand in some cases the whole lot The whole 1,000 kilos plus the 8 is shipped off somewhere else, and it's dried and put, once they know that the quality's there, it's dried, separated into little tablets and put into a blister pack like the one I had you there with the paracetamol. There's there yet. It's put into these. And there's a big question of where this is done. They tend to put the whole tax in Ireland at 15%. The tax in America is 28%. And in some parts of the world, the tax is less. So this is a big issue with the Americans as well. Is that fair play? He's trying to move the pharmaceuticals back to America, but he didn't introduce it yet. The other ones are introduced. I think it's tomorrow. I think it is. So, right, we'll see you folks back. That's it. Comment underneath. There's a few bios there, the usual old crowd, giving out cheek out of them. I think I'll soon dump them out altogether, or we leave them for another few days. All right. Comment underneath and make it logical. Thank you.